He watches the girl shine on stage, hailed as the only rank A. The ground opens beneath his feet, but no one sees. How will the boy content with rock bottom become the greatest legend? To understand his path, let's go back to the beginning. Night descends upon the silent streets, and the hurried footsteps of a young blonde woman echo on the cold city asphalt. She walks, feeling that something in the air has changed, as if the darkness itself is watching her every move. The precarious streetlights flicker, plunging the alley into dense shadows as the tension mounts with each passing second. Suddenly, fire explodes in the air, and she recoils in horror before the flames that seem to have a life of their own. Her scream dies in her throat. The heat consumes the environment in a destructive and dangerous show of lights. Far away, little Xiao Yu hums softly, carrying a warm teapot, unaware of the chaos the world is preparing. A firm hand grabs the collar of her clothes, interrupting her song and bringing her back to domestic reality. Lu Shu glares at her disapprovingly. "I give up. You won't even leave the medicine alone. Are you that hungry?" he blurts out. She pouts irritably and tries to justify. "I'll just take a sip, just a tiny little sip, I swear." But he doesn't give in and orders her to go apologize to Aunt Lin immediately for her greedy behavior. The girl throws herself on the floor, feigning total weakness, grumbling that hunger has left her completely immobile and without energy. Lu Shu coughs, hiding a laugh, and asks if she really wants to eat the carrots left in the basket. He lifts the vegetables as if they were treasures, saying that the people of Jianghu call them vegetable ginseng. Xiao Yu looks at him with disdain and retorts, "Is that why you look like a dried carrot? I'm staying far away from that." The young man sighs in defeat, realizing his attempt to be healthy and economical has miserably failed with his rebellious little sister. She then reveals her true desire: instant noodles, something they can only afford on very special occasions, like New Year's. Lu Shu looks at the ceiling and says, her dreams are too big for their empty pockets right now. Furious, she charges forward, demanding he break the walnut pendant if he won't buy the noodles she craves so much. "I've told you 1,000 times it's not a walnut," he shouts, protecting the object he's carried since the orphanage. Xiao Yu begins to howl in anger, accusing Lu Shu of changing, of no longer being the good brother he once was. He panics at the uproar and asks if she's serious while trying to quiet the little one. With no way out, he finally gives in. "I'll buy the darn noodles. Just stop making that noise," he yells. The girl's face changes instantly, showing a look of victory that only a clever child can have after a fight. She seizes the opportunity and demands braised beef flavor, leaving Lu Shu in absolute silence, filled with pure regret. The wind blows outside, swaying the trees as the winter night grows colder and more solitary. The city sparkles in the distance, oblivious to the troubles of this duo who struggle just to get a warm and tasty meal. Xiao Yu finds the neighbor, who is frying meatballs, and anxiously waits for Lu Shu to come home soon. The cold bites and the neighbor, moved, decides to give an extra meatball for the girl to take to her older brother. Xiao Yu looks at the meat and thinks Lu Shu is too weak, deciding to be merciful and give him one. She laughs to herself, planning to eat the rest, but promising herself she wouldn't give him more than 3 meatballs. Her stomach rumbles loudly, reminding her that hunger waits for no one, not even the plans of a small villain. She looks at the door worriedly, wondering why Lu Shu is taking so long while the food cools on the table. In the streets, Lu Shu watches the fireworks and wishes that next year he can give her something real. A message glows on his phone screen, asking if he bought what he promised, bringing him back to the cold present. He walks with his phone in hand, dreaming of a future where he won't have to count coins to please his little sister. A violent crash slices through the air, and Lu Shu's world turns upside down in one bloody second. Blood trickles down his face as he realizes he hasn't yet fulfilled the promises he made to little Xiao Yu. His vision blurs. The city lights mix with the red, staining the cold asphalt of that cruel night. His phone, fallen on the ground, displays her last question, but he no longer has the strength to type any coherent answer. He declares to the void that he is Lu Shu, the protagonist of this story, and his time cannot end yet. His body lies inert, surrounded by shattered glass, and the deadly silence that follows a high-impact accident. Lu Shu feels that his journey hasn't even begun, but destiny seems to have different plans for him on that New Year's Eve. A thought echoes in his mind, "I died," as darkness tries to pull him away from the life he knew. The truck stops meters ahead, with the driver getting out in shock at the trail of destruction left behind on the asphalt. The man grumbles about his bad luck, fearing the legal consequences of hitting a young man in the full moonlight. He approaches cautiously, praying that no one died on a night that should be for celebration. Suddenly, a bloody hand rises from the ground, and Lu Shu points at the driver with a look of pure fury. The man recoils in horror, eyes wide as if seeing a ghost returning from the dead to seek revenge. Lu Shu crawls and utters the sentence, "You are in trouble," making it clear he won't leave without collecting his due. The driver screams for help, convinced the boy is a haunting, and begins to run desperately away from there. "Don't you dare run before compensating me," Lu Shu screams, struggling to get up as the stranger vanishes into the cold night's darkness. He stands frozen, feeling the blood dry on his skin, and stares at his own hands with an expression of utter mental confusion. The young man wonders why he didn't die, and even more bizarrely, why he can't feel any pain throughout his body. Xiao Yu appears at the doorstep, calling for him, holding the meatballs she won, completely unaware of the horror that just transpired. She stops abruptly, her eyes wide as she takes in her brother's deplorable state, covered in blood and dust, standing amidst the dirty snow. Shock seizes the girl's voice for an instant, before she finally screams the obvious question about what happened. Lu Shu tries to ease the tension, claiming he hit a car and that the vehicle fared much worse than he did. He smiles, saying he was just kidding, that he helped with an accident, but Xiao Yu doesn't seem to believe a word of it. She eyes him suspiciously, and he decides to escape the conversation, stating he's going to take a bath to clean off the grime. Water cascades over his body, and he watches as his wounds close as if they had never existed, disappearing under the bathroom steam. Lu Shu stares at his reflection in the mirror, searching for any physical change that might explain the miracle that just occurred in his life. Nothing seems different on the outside, but he feels a strange vibration coursing through his veins, a new and unknown power. He closes his eyes for a moment, trying to focus on the sensation of warmth emanating from the center of his chest. A brilliant mark appears on his palm, pulsing with a bluish light that defies all laws of logic. Lu Shu jumps when a technological interface materializes before his eyes, floating in the air like a sci-fi hologram. He sees a counter showing 697 negative emotion points and realizes that his unlucky life has finally taken a drastic turn. The boy wonders if he's awakened a superpower, just like the circulating news about special people emerging everywhere. He reaches out to touch the floating screen, feeling the energy respond to his mental command with terrifying precision. The system displays items and a balance that increases as he thinks about the situation, leading him to believe that fate has granted him money. He recognizes the names on the points list and realizes that the truck driver was the one who generated his first wealth. Xiao Yu yells from the kitchen for him to cook the noodles, and Lu Shu realizes that her irritation also generates points. The system confirms negative emotion points received from Xiao Yu, proving that being annoying is now his new job. He realizes that provoking or scaring others has become his source of income and wonders if he can withdraw the points. He shouts, demanding money from the system, but the interface merely displays the balance of 867 points without spitting out real bills. Frustrated, he notes that the points are only useful within this bizarre system and decides to explore the lottery center section. He hopes to find legendary treasures or powerful weapons and spins the virtual roulette wheel with all the hope he has left. The result is a cold splash of reality. "Thank you for participating," and he repeats the spin only to receive the same message. Angrily, he punches the virtual screen, refusing to believe that his luck remains utterly trash even with powers. Suddenly, an item appears, and he pulls out a glowing red fruit, hoping it won't kill him when he eats it. He stares at the fruit in his palm, feeling the sweet, dangerous aroma emanating from that small sphere of pure energy. The boy takes a deep breath, puts the fruit in his mouth, and feels an intense heat begin to spread throughout his entire body. The temperature rises so much that he feels as if he's burning from the inside, scorching every muscle and bone. Lu Shu realizes that his body and meridians are being reshaped by the fruit's energy, making him much stronger and more resilient. Xiao Yu complains that the noodles have gotten cold, and the system notifies him of 99 more points, making Lu Shu smile despite the physical agony. He emerges from the bath feeling refreshed and praises the food, leaving his little sister confused by his sudden change in mood. Xiao Yu declares that his talent in the kitchen is irreplaceable and that he should always be in charge of the instant noodles. He looks at her and mentally thanks her for the accumulated points, but decides he can't just keep teasing his little sister. Lu Shu suggests they finish eating so they can go build a snowman, trying to keep their normal routine intact. The girl accepts but imposes a condition. If he breaks his promise, he'll have to buy her sweets at the festival tomorrow. She yells that he's not allowed to say the snowman isn't pretty, showing her usual childish authority at home. Meanwhile, in the dead of night, mysterious lights streak across the city sky, indicating that the awakening is not an isolated event. Trails of fire rip through the clouds, drawing the gaze of anyone still awake to the phenomenon that defies common science. One of these lights plunges towards the rooftops, moving with an agility that nothing human could replicate. A hand reaches out in the darkness, capturing the residual energy that floats in the air after the passage of the strange fire comet. A loud impact echoes through the neighborhood, and Lu Shu jumps, sensing that something dangerous has just landed very close to home. A gray-haired man glides across the rooftops, manipulating flames with a mastery that would terrify anyone. Lu Shu and Xiao Yu watch the agile figure disappear into the night, realizing that the world they knew is changing forever. The shadow vanishes in a flash, leaving only a trail of smoke and the lingering doubt about who these awakened beings truly are. Lu Shu looks at his broken phone, thinking about how communications and information will be crucial to survive in this new scenario. Xiao Yu accuses him of flirting with some girl and complains that he doesn't pay attention to his cute, beloved little sister. She snatched the phone from his hand, indignant that he was using a random messaging app at a moment like this. The device emitted a sound and displayed an X-ray image, leaving both of them confused by the received message's content. The girl burst into loud laughter at the absurd situation, thinking her brother was even stranger than she had imagined. He sent her back to her room, threatening to cancel their trip to the festival if she didn't stop meddling in what wasn't her business. Lu Shu refocused on the system, realizing that each bizarre interaction brought him closer to another spin in the fated lottery. He concentrated, feeling a profound connection to the stars, as if a celestial map was being etched onto his very soul. A children's song about stars appeared in the system, and he demanded an explanation, but the interface remained utterly silent. The ancient text described stars that shone like diamonds in the silent void, floating beyond the boundaries of the mortal world. He felt the night was long and the path uncertain, until the flames extinguished and the final songs were sung. Lu Shu realized this knowledge was a legendary training technique that only he could now fully perceive and master. The night's silence enveloped him as he reflected on the weight of this new responsibility and the danger that power brought. Xiao Yu shouted again for him to go to sleep, reminding him they needed to wake up early for the festival, jolting him out of his profound thoughts. He understood that the Star Atlas was his most precious secret, and that he must use it to become the protector she needed. The next day, she praised the song he had sung, but he denied everything, trying to hide any sign of the change within him. The girl noticed him obviously changing the subject, and stared at him with those large eyes that saw everything. The festival was packed, and Lu Shu tried to slip unnoticed through the celebrating crowd, oblivious to the hidden dangers. A shiver ran down his spine as he noticed a man beside him, emanating an aura of power far different from ordinary humans. The individual had red hair and an arrogant smirk, manipulating a small flame in his palm to show off. A disturbance caught his attention, and Lu Shu realized the man was about to cause a commotion with his reckless display. The boy confirmed his suspicions. That guy was also an awakened one, but he didn't seem to intend to be discreet. Xiao Yu called him, and he answered distractedly, his eyes fixed on the fire user moving between the stalls. She complained that she hadn't seen anything and demanded he take her backstage to find out what was happening there. The red-haired man shot flames into the air, creating a spectacle that enchanted the crowd but alerted the watchful agents. Several figures leaped from the shadows, surrounding the fire user with perfect military coordination. An explosion erupted as the two sides clashed, spreading panic among the festival goers, who began to run desperately. Agents in dark sunglasses advanced on the rebel, using containment tactics to neutralize the threat before anyone was seriously injured. An electric discharge struck the red-haired man, extinguishing his flames and dropping him to the ground in an instant of pure shock. Xiao Yu screamed, asking why they were arresting the man, shocked by the violence of the agent's sudden intervention. The men in black exchanged cold glances, ignoring the crowd's protests as they finished immobilizing the suspect. Lu Shu grabbed Xiao Yu and retreated, realizing that these agents were not ordinary police and possessed resources far superior to their own. The agent calmly explained that the man was not permitted to handle fire and had violated fundamental public safety protocols of the state. They swiftly took the prisoner away, leaving a trail of doubt and fear in the hearts of those who witnessed the entire scene. Lu Shu pretended to believe the excuse, but he knew firefighters didn't go around knocking people out and taking them away in unmarked black cars. He politely bid them farewell, wanting to leave as quickly as possible before the agents started asking questions. One of the agents asked if there were any problems, but the other said he felt no energy flow coming from that ordinary boy. They decided to take the awakened one to the base immediately, unaware that they had just let a very powerful system user slip by. Lu Shu walked in silence with his sister, feeling the weight of the reality that people like him were being hunted and studied. He vowed to be more careful and not expose his powers, realizing that being an unknown rookie was his greatest advantage. Xiao Yu asked if those people were different from them, and her gaze showed a mix of curiosity and genuine fear. He confirmed that the world was dangerous and asked what they should do, knowing there were beings far stronger than them. Her answer was firm and direct. Then we'll just be stronger than all of them, showing relentless and fierce determination. Lu Shu saw the sparkle in his sister's eyes and smirked, feeling that the two of them were destined for something much greater. A distant boom ended the festival as the siblings retreated, leaving behind the stage of their first major revelation. From afar, a blond young man watched them leave, finding it strange that the agents had let the witnesses go so easily. Lu Shu hugged his little sister and promised to protect her in the future, no matter the cost, against any enemy who dared to appear. Suddenly, a boy named Ji Wei appeared with a friendly smile, introducing himself and trying to befriend the suspicious duo. Lu Shu stared at him disdainfully and asked, "How happy?" leaving the newcomer completely confused by such an out-of-the-ordinary reaction. Ji Wei stammered, unsure how to respond to that bizarre question that cut through the friendly atmosphere he had tried to create. Lu Shu repeated the question with a serious gaze, harvesting negative emotion points as the poor boy entered a mental collapse. Xiao Yu stepped away to check her phone, wanting to see if photos of the festival incident had already hit the global network. Lu Shu observes the other's reactions, realizing his trolling tactic is extremely effective for rapidly gaining power. The class chat explodes with photos of the fireman and theories about superpowered humans living hidden among ordinary students. Someone asks if there's an awakened one in their classroom, and a smart aleck replies that he himself is the class's great hero. Lu Shu notices that the men in black were monitoring the area the entire time, indicating constant and rigorous surveillance. It becomes clear that the target was the Man of Flames, and anyone who shows their powers will be taken for deep investigation. Xiao Yu asks if his class had another meeting without inviting him, exposing the social exclusion her brother suffers at school. He says he doesn't have money to go out with them, and that it's normal not to be called, but she says she accepts him. Lu Shu tells her to go to sleep, and she leaves complaining that he'll lose his one generous friend if he keeps being so annoying. The young man is left alone with his thoughts, staring at the ceiling and planning how to survive the return of classes next week. He sees messages from classmates complaining about tests and smiles, sending a scathing reply that instantly infuriates everyone. The system notifies him of points from Ji Wei, proving that the new kid truly holds a grudge for the provocations made at the festival. The points keep rising, and Lu Shu laughs at the persistence of others' hatred, which has become his fuel for evolution. Far away, Ji Wei sneezes and shivers, unaware that his irritation is fueling the power of his new rival. Someone on the phone mentions that all the agents' movement happened for a very specific and direct reason within their organization. Niating's image in action appears on screen, showing the level of power that the true masters of this world now possess. Lu Shu feels energy pulsing in his hands and decides to eat the golden fruit, ready to climb another step towards the top. Without hesitation, he takes the first bite to see what happens, and the taste of change invades his senses now. Suddenly, the air around him compresses, and an unknown sensation begins to expand his chest with full force. An internal explosion of power makes the ground tremble, and Lu Shu feels his body has never been so good before. The bang scares Xiao Yu, who runs to ask if something fell from the sky or if her brother has finally gone mad. He tries to disguise his dizziness by saying he just hit his head on the wall, and she warns him he needs to take care of himself. The little girl is suspicious of the noise, but the silence of the night is interrupted by a blur streaking through the clouds at high speed. She points to the window and screams that someone just plummeted from the sky directly into their snow-covered backyard. Lu Shu tries to remain calm and orders her not to leave the house, as the danger outside is real. Xiao Yu insists it's not a joke and pulls her brother to see the trail of destruction left by the sudden impact. He looks through the window with a racing heart, realizing that the era of the awakened has literally knocked on his door. In the middle of the snow, a man dressed in red lies motionless, as if fate itself had thrown him there. Xiao Yu exclaims in shock that someone really fell from the sky, and a mysterious atmosphere takes over the entire place. Lu Shu narrows his eyes, and shock runs down his spine as he recognizes the face of the man fallen in the snow. It's him, the same fugitive who caused chaos at the festival, now vulnerable and defeated before the young protagonist's feet. The girl asks if they should save him, but Lu Shu is already calculating how to turn that dangerous situation into pure profit. He suggests calling for an emergency, but warns the stranger will have to pay the ambulance bill as soon as he wakes up. The system beeps, notifying negative emotions, and Lu Shu realizes the guy was faking unconsciousness the whole time. He understands that if the fugitive is playing dead, it's because he fears being captured by the relentless agents pursuing him. Xiao Yu suggests taking him inside, but Lu Shu decides to drag him out of the backyard, avoiding unwanted explanations. The girl, with her pure heart, asks if he wants water while the young troll continues his silent psychological torture. Lu Shu shouts a resounding no and begins to apply pressure to the man's chest, ensuring he doesn't move. He says with authority that the injured man must stay still, and Liang Che's irritation points keep rising. The fugitive finally opens his eyes and pleads, in a hoarse whisper, for Lu Shu to let him stand up. The young man ignores the request, pushing him back against the cold ground, insisting that he needs absolute rest. Liang Che collapses mentally, thinking he's found a raving lunatic, and Lu Shu's system almost explodes with points. The man's hatred becomes fuel, and Lu Shu smiles contentedly until an intense heat begins to emanate from the stranger's body. The fugitive's hands combust, and Lu Shu realizes the imminent danger, screaming for Xiao Yu to flee immediately. Liang Che snarls that it's all his fault, and flames begin to lick the cold night air with fury. In a swift movement, Lu Shu delivers a precise blow that interrupts the opponent's energy flow before the worst can happen. The fire dies with a hiss, while the young man maintains control of the situation with a coldness he didn't even know he possessed. Xiao Yu returns furiously and orders him to release her brother, ready to fight with whatever she has at hand. Liang Che feels Lu Shu's pulse and realizes the boy is not an ordinary person as he thought. Sparks fly between them, and the physical confrontation becomes a dangerous dance under the pale light of the winter moon. In the distance, figures observe the trail of destruction as the fate of everyone involved begins to truly intertwine. Lu Shu stares at the panting man and asks with disdain, "Are you done playing with fire in my backyard?" The once powerful fugitive now begs for mercy, calling Lu Shu a hero and pleading to be left in absolute peace. With a sarcastic smile, the young man waves and tells him to come back whenever he wants, maintaining the facade of a friendly and insane neighbor. Liang Che flees, thinking that this family of snowmen hides monsters far worse than he ever imagined. He admits to himself that he was blind to underestimate the inhabitants of that humble, precarious house in the middle of the city. Lu Shu watches the silhouette vanish into the darkness, processing the mountain of points he just harvested from this bizarre interaction. Shadows lengthen, and silence returns, but the feeling that the world has changed forever still hangs heavy in the air. Suddenly, Dark figures cross the rooftops, and Lu Shu realizes that the agents have finally caught Liang Che's trail. He wonders why the enemy was so weak, and if the downtown fire drained all his mana. Xiao Yu approaches and warns him not to get close to awakened ones, claiming she saved him from being burned alive. He caresses the little girl's head and reveals his secret. He too has awakened, and now possesses the power to protect her. She looks at him in disbelief and asks to see flames, but Lu Shu only smiles at the amused skepticism of his only friend. The young man deflects, saying he needs to sell eggs tomorrow, and bids her good night while she complains about the boredom. The night passes slowly as the world outside reorganizes itself to face the new reality emerging for everyone. The alarm clock rings, and his phone displays messages for a new day of work and school that promises to be very different. An old customer asks why he hasn't closed the shop yet, and Lu Shu replies that school can wait. Local news tries to hide the truth about the fire, calling it an accident involving explosive materials, but Lu Shu knows what truly happened. On his phone, a new icon appears, and he questions where this foundation everyone is talking about suddenly came from. The site loads forbidden videos of supernatural events, and Lu Shu realizes that government censorship is losing the online battle. The portal classifies the awakened and displays images of impossible feats that defy all logic of modern science as we know it. He navigates through the video zones, realizing that the organization behind this is extremely careful and has much bigger plans. Xiao Yu catches him hypnotized by the screen and asks what's so interesting that he can't even blink. Schoolmates appear and mock Lu Shu, telling him not to waste time dreaming of becoming an awakened one. The bully insists he'll never be anything more than an egg seller and that buying from him is pure charity. Lu Shu asks to be excused with an icy gaze that makes the group retreat, not understanding where that sudden pressure came from. In the hallway, the buzz grows louder, and everyone clears a path for the most popular and admired person in the entire school. It's Cao Qingci, the elegant goddess of Class 1, whose grades and beauty place her on an unreachable pedestal for others. She stops before Lu Shu and asks for an egg, paying the exact amount, while the other students watch in total shock. Lu Shu watches her walk away and feels there's something different about her, an aura that overflows with an as-yet unrevealed potential. At home, he finds Xiao Yu with a high fever and asks why she suddenly fell ill. She admits she washed the accumulated laundry with cold water, and Lu Shu places the thermometer in her mouth with visible concern. The mercury rises dangerously to 39 degrees Celsius, and despair begins to take over the small, cold room. Lu Shu goes out in search of medicine, but realizes that perhaps the solution to her problems lies within his own system. He ponders if the remodeling fruit could change Xiao Yu's physical condition and increase her resistance to illnesses. The little girl notices her brother's grim face, and jokes that he looks so withdrawn, he seems like an African. Lu Shu spends his points on the system lottery and curses his luck until a radiant light shines in the palm of his hand. He finally gets the item he needed and smiles in relief, having something that can truly save his brave little sister. Lu Shu orders her to eat the fruit immediately, and the reddish glow of the fruit illuminates the feverish girl's pale face. She swallows it whole, without even tasting it, as the energy begins to silently act upon her DNA. Xiao Yu asks what it was, complaining that she didn't even get to savor it, but the fever begins to recede in seconds. Her eyes gain a new sparkle, and the sickly paleness is replaced by a healthy color that radiates vigor and renewed life. Lu Shu confirms that the effect was exactly what he expected, protecting her from the weaknesses that haunted her since her difficult childhood. Silence falls between them, and their connection strengthens, as both know they are now part of something much greater. She asks where that fruit came from, and if Lu Shu has finally awakened his powers, like the heroes in the network news. He hesitates for a second, looking at his own hands, feeling the strength that flows like a wild river beneath his skin. Lu Shu admits he feels like a different person and asks if she also desires to become an awakened one. He faces the future with determination and repeats the question, wanting to know if she's ready to face the chaos that will come. Her answer comes with a spark of hope in her eyes, a decisive yes that seals the fate of the two siblings. Lu Shu promises he'll find a way to make it happen, no matter how many irritation points he has to harvest. He understands that using the fruits to enhance physical potential is the only way to accelerate his training in mystical arts. Under the starlight, he meditates and realizes he can gather astral energy much faster than anyone else. The focus now is to prepare Xiao Yu's foundation so her awakening will be safe and incredibly powerful when the time comes. The next day, he looks at his classmates and smiles, thinking that they are all precious bricks in building her future. The school is abuzz with rumors that authorities will finally act to integrate the new talents into the official educational system. Lu Shu arrives in class feeling refreshed after an entire night of intense training, without a single trace of fatigue on his face. A classmate announces that the names for the Dao Yuan class will be announced today, and tension among the students reaches its peak. Lu Shu mutters about freedom and democracy, while the girl looks at him as if he's lost an important screw in his head. She insists that times have changed, and merely studying no longer guarantees a place in the sun in this bubbling new world. Lu Shu's gaze deepens. He knows that the true competition for survival is only just beginning for everyone in that room. The door opens, and the principal enters, accompanied by a mysterious woman who exudes unquestionable authority and fatal beauty. The students gasp at Shi Fei's presence, asking if she's the new teacher who will change everything. Ye Ling disdains the newcomer's beauty, but the fear in her eyes betrays her true concern for the new hierarchy. The principal clears his throat and announces the formation of the Dao Yuan Class, a unified training environment for the city's talents. He introduces Xi Fei as the teacher tasked with guiding the chosen ones through the complex and dangerous paths of intense spiritual awakening. She takes the list and orders those called to stand up, to be properly identified by the school's new leadership. The first name echoes in the absolute silence of the room: Liu Li, a boy who displays an arrogant smile, as if he had already expected it. He stands with his chest puffed out, feeling like the protagonist of a story that has only just begun to be truly written. Other names are called, and the school's elite begin to stand out among the mere mortals who watch with pure envy. Then, Lu Shu's name is pronounced, and an incredulous silence falls over everyone present, like a heavy blanket of shock. Whispers begin immediately. No one can believe that the useless egg seller was selected for something so grand and vital. The teacher repeats the name and orders him to stand, while Lu Shu maintains his usual sarcastic and calm expression. He stands and apologizes, saying he was just testing his classmates' hearing, generating a massive wave of negative points. The young man thanks everyone on behalf of Xiao Yu, mocking those who had humiliated him minutes ago with such arrogance. Xi Fei formally introduces herself and fixes her gaze on Lu Shu, realizing that this boy hides secrets the list doesn't reveal. She congratulates the new members of the Dao Yuan class, while the losers begin to plot how to bring down the school's newly chosen. Lu Shu turns to a classmate and asks if he wants to know the mystical secret to entering the special awakened class. The boy approaches hopefully, thinking Lu Shu will finally reveal something useful to change his mediocre, powerless life. Lu Shu spouts a nonsensical phrase about fairies and Shazam, making the poor guy embarrass himself in front of everyone there. The classmate explodes in anger, asking if he's gone mad, while irritation points shoot up like a rocket on the system screen. The young man chuckles softly at his own joke, satisfied to harvest others' hatred to strengthen himself and his sister. He surveys the room and mentally thanks his friends, calling them bricks on the path to Lu Xiao Yu's triumphant awakening. Each brick will have an irritated name engraved on it, an ironic tribute to the fuel that is now transforming both their lives. The teacher announces the arrival of transferred students and a seating reorganization to accommodate the new and mysterious classmates. Soft footsteps echo on the floorboards, and anticipation grows as everyone tries to guess who will walk through that door now in the middle of class. Someone exclaims about a stunningly beautiful mixed-race girl who seems to have stepped right out of an international luxury perfume commercial. Jiang Shu Yi enters the room with blonde hair and delicate features that make all the boys' hearts pound. Her beauty is so striking that time seems to stop for a second as she walks with natural, calm elegance. Her eyes sparkle with sharp intelligence, and Lu Shu senses that this new presence will stir up the school's waters. The young man observes others' interest and keeps his guard up, realizing that not everything is as it seems in this world. The new student stops before Lu Shu and asks if she can sit next to him, ignoring all other suitors present. Lu Shu recognizes the voice and goes into shock, realizing that the situation is about to become extremely bizarre and complicated for him. Ye Ling is forced to give up her seat, and the tension between the girls reaches stratospheric levels of pure feminine rivalry. Jiang Shu Yi thanks her with a sweet smile that melts anyone's resistance, except for the suspicious and alert Lu Shu. The former occupant storms out, seething with hatred, unable to compete with the radiant aura the new transfer student emanates. She bids farewell to Lu Shu with a look laden with promises of future vengeance for being so easily replaced. Jiang Shu Yi asks if he's all right, and Lu Shu returns the question with his usual sarcasm, generating an unexpected reaction from the young person. He realizes he said too much and that the new student isn't a normal human. Gender confusion starts to fry everyone's brains. The revelation hits like a punch. His name is Jiang Shu Yi, and he is, in fact, a boy with effeminate features. Lu Shu narrows his eyes and begins to analyze every physical detail to confirm if this isn't just another trick of fate. He focuses on the Adam's apple and the absence of feminine curves, confirming the biological truth that shocked the entire class of students. It's official. The school's new idol is a man, and Lu Shu's system registers a wave of collective disappointment. Jiang Shu Yi realizes he's being scrutinized and looks at Lu Shu with an expression that mixes amusement and a slight challenge. Lu Shu formally introduces himself, but immediately thinks his new classmate might have fallen for his rustic and peculiar beauty. Night falls, and the first Dao Yuan class begins, shrouded in an atmosphere of absolute mystery and seriousness for everyone. The building's lights shine solitarily as the chosen ones prepare for what might be the most difficult training of their lives. Lu Shu stares at a cushion on the floor, wondering if they're about to teach ancient spells or some millennia-old Chinese meditation technique. Shi Fei distributes confidential documents and demands everyone sign and provide their fingerprint to seal their commitment to the army. The warning is clear. Leaking class information is a military crime, and Lu Shu realizes they're forging an army of awakened ones. The teacher asks if anyone knows why the class was formed and challenges the students to think beyond obvious physical power. A boy ventures to say it's to learn magic and attack spells, but the answer seems far too simplistic for Shi Fei. She smiles and questions how they were chosen, revealing a rigorous scientific criterion behind every summons made there. Silence reigns as the youths try to process the complexity of what's being revealed about their own genetic and spiritual potential. She mentions the sodium-potassium alloy, and Lu Shu senses that a boring chemistry lesson is about to become something vital. Shi Fei points at Lu Shu and asks what sodium is, testing the knowledge level of her most problematic student. He stands up under everyone's watchful eyes, preparing one of those answers only he could possibly give in such a serious moment. With unparalleled audacity, he begins to define the chemical element in the most absurd way possible, solely to annoy the teacher. He claims sodium is a mythical path to heaven, and Shi Fei's irritation points instantly skyrocket within the system. She orders him to sit down and explains that sodium has new uses, measuring blood's response to the universal qi present. The substance changes color from silver to black depending on the individual's potential, revealing who the true awakened geniuses are now. The more potential a person possesses, the darker the alloy becomes, serving as an infallible thermometer of raw, latent power. There are 6 classification levels, from A to F, but the teacher warns that potential alone doesn't guarantee success without willpower. She offers the option to withdraw now for anyone unable to withstand the competitive pressure that will be imposed from this very moment. Lu Shu observes his classmates, realizing that the Dao Yuan class is a battlefield far crueler than any university entrance exam. Shi Fei begins announcing the rankings and warns that there's no one of level A in the room, humbling the arrogant ones. Lu Li is classified as level B and celebrates as if he'd won the war, feeling superior to everyone else present. Lu Shu's name appears, and the verdict is cruel. Level F, the lowest possible rank on the entire awakening scale. Laughter echoes, and scornful glances return with full force, confirming the theory that he's merely useless. He remains calm, knowing he concealed his true potential to avoid attracting the attention of government agents in the near future. Someone asks if there's any level A in the entire school, and Shi Fei's answer instantly silences the entire room. Only one person possesses the maximum potential, and her name echoes like a death sentence for her rivals. Cao Qingci. Lu Shu gazes at the girl walking with her aura of perfection, realizing she is the true obstacle to be overcome in this new world.